Army, what's going on? Today, we're talking about the hierarchy of fat loss, the things that you should focus on when it comes to nutrition in order to lose weight. I got something I want to show you today, something real cool. Let's cut to the chase. Yo, I don't want to go into details, but I lost my favorite pair of glasses in a bizarre locker room incident. Let's just leave it at that, bro. Wow, this shit now looks fucking professional. So, let us get started. The hierarchy of fat loss. Here are the most important things you gotta focus on when trying to lose weight. At the base is the most important. So it goes from most important to least important. The number one point is always calories. How many calories you're consuming. Total sum. It doesn't matter daily calories. What we're really looking at is the grand total. So not only weekly, but monthly. You have to be in a caloric deficit in order to lose weight. That's the most important. Meaning, if you eat Twinkies, but you only eat 1,000 calories of Twinkies, you will lose weight. If you eat chicken breast, on the other hand, and you eat 8,000 calories of chicken breast, even though it's a good calorie, you will not lose weight. You will, in fact, get fat. So the total amount of calories is the most important part of fat loss. Yo! The fuck is this? The hierarchy? We're talking about the fucking herky jerky? What is this, sex ed 101? Feels like I'm in fucking school all over again. Second most important point are the macros. Macros are, of course, protein, carbs, and fat. What you have to do when trying to lose weight is first calculate your protein and then figure out the other energy nutrients. As you know what I recommend, per pound of lean muscle mass, so you take away all your body fat, your lean muscle mass, what you'd want to consume is roughly 1 to 1.5 grams per pound of lean muscle mass of protein. Get that number and figure it out. Then from there, the other nutrients are your energy nutrients, so your carbs and your fats. It'd be highly inaccurate of me to give you a specific ratio of carbs and fats. Why? Because it depends upon your training. If you're doing more intense exercise, so let's say a lot of strength training, a lot of circuit work, a lot of high intensity cardio, you'll need more carbs, more energy. Whatever the case might be, the remaining calories after your protein have to comprise of carbs and fat. And this once again depends upon how your body reacts to these nutrients. Are you carb sensitive? Then perhaps you need to consume slightly less. Really, when it comes down to macros, after you have a good starting base of protein, the carbs and the fats are what work right for you. The third most important component when it comes to fat loss are micros, your vitamins and your minerals. You know, like vitamin C, E, minerals. You know I'm a big fan already of zinc and magnesium. All this essentially boils down to, because you're in a caloric deficit, you're eating less food. Thus, the food that you eat has to be more nutrient dense. And what's nutrient dense food? Fucking green vegetables. Your mom was right. When in a fat loss phase, you should be consuming several cups, several servings of vegetables in your meal plan. As a great rule of thumb, what I usually recommend with all my clients is 1 serving of vegetables per meal. The last, least important part that you have to focus on are sources. The sources of your calories. So now that you're eating carbs, what type of carbs are they? You know, between the sugars and let's say complex carbohydrates, between the actual source that you get your meat from, so is it organic or non-organic? What that means is certain foods for certain individuals might cause inflammation, and that's bad for fat loss. So we talk about some people that potentially have gluten intolerances, you know, dairy, for instance, for myself, the cow dairy, the commercial cow dairy, I don't react well. Food sources that you find don't agree with you and cause bloating, you should definitely eliminate. And this is personal, and once again, not nearly as important as everything else. Entirely up to you. As you may know, I think organic carries a very loose definition, but it's something that you have to consider when you're consuming your calories. In my opinion, you should always try and choose the best sources. Now, the big overarching theme over all of this is consistency. And that really relates back to our calories when I was talking about sum total calories. You have to do this on a consistent basis in order to lose weight. It's not going to take, a couple days of being in a caloric deficit, getting your macros, micros, and your sources set up in order to lose weight. You need to do this for several weeks. In order to effectively lose a significant amount of fat, you have to follow this for several weeks to notice results. And guys, that is really what it boils down to. Figure out your total calories, eat slightly below maintenance, figure out your macros, so calculate your protein, which I just told you about, 1 to 1.5 grams per lean body weight. Then with the remaining calories, you would have your carbs and your fat, and this is individual dependent. The third component, micros, so you got to make sure you're eating enough fiber, so you're actually taking the shit. You got to have your vitamins, your C's, E's, D's, your minerals, your magnesium, your zinc, your iron. You have to make sure that your foods are nutrient dense, so choose better sources. An apple would be superior when it comes to weight loss than, let's say, a Twinkie. BAM! Hierarchy of fat loss. from a nutrition standpoint, what you need to eat, what you need to consider in order to lose weight. Yeah, so now you all learned that I can't write for shit, but I did it anyways. Guys, that is the video. I hope you learned about the hierarchy of fat loss and what you should focus on from a nutrition standpoint. Make sure to like, share with friends, and subscribe. Buff Army, I'll be seeing you in the next video. Yo, the hierarchy of fat loss? Just don't eat. Poor people have been practicing not eating for a really long time. And they're all skinny. I'll let you draw your own conclusions.